Hello, once again, this is Amy the Autistic coming to you from her garage. If you're like me and have Aspergers or autism and don't really care to stare at people's faces, there's a lot of wonderful things to look at. So that's one reason I'm out here. The other reason is I like to move around a little bit. Lighting's better and the family's asleep inside, so no need to wake them. But wanted to talk to you today about some of the reasons that I go nonverbal. Verbalization has never come naturally to me. I've always thought of English as a learned second language, and I'm not very good at it. For me, my natural state of being is in silence, mostly because it's comfortable and it's not stressful, and I don't have to think about it or put any effort into it. So I think by nature I probably am nonverbal, but because I enjoy having relationships with friends and family, I choose to put the effort and time into conversing. So there are times when I go nonverbal completely unconsciously, out of my control. I fall into selective mutism, which usually happens after I'm physically or emotionally exhausted, and all of a sudden words just simply stop forming, and it's almost like my mind goes blank. And usually I spend a lot of time cleaning the house then, because physically I'm like on autopilot and I can do physical things, but ask me to think or talk or how I'm feeling and I'm at a complete loss as to how to respond to you. So usually I just have to wait that out. It comes and it goes when it pleases, and that's just probably one of the weirdest things about my autism, is when that happens, because it is completely out of my control, and it's hard to explain and rationalize, and there's nothing I can do to get out of it. It's just one of those things that happens, and I just have to learn how to accept it. Hot muggy day, so excuse me while I wipe some of the sweat away. Must be 80 degrees in here. Anyway, there are times when I go nonverbal consciously, and I wanted to share some with you today. For starters, I'm a very private person, and I'm slow to trust people, and I tend to keep my thoughts to myself. I just, you know, am very introverted. So besides, do you really want to know what I'm thinking? I think not. My mind does work in mysterious ways, and I tend to dwell on subject matter that is of no interest to anybody other than myself, and I'll just keep that to myself. So the other thing is I tend to shy away from fluff and stuff. Gossip doesn't interest me at all. Celebrities, television shows, I'm just not following that kind of stuff because it's of no interest at all. So, you know, I don't engage in a lot of small talk regarding those subjects at all. The other thing that's, I think, really unusual about my Asperger's is that my emotional center seems to be wired directly to my language center, so that when I go to speak, especially if I'm feeling emotional or just out of nowhere, sometimes I'll go to say something, you know, innocuous like, "Hi, how you doing?" and it'll just come out in tears, and that's, you know, really weird for me and for the other person that I'm talking to. And I can't control it sometimes. So if I am feeling very emotional, or like that may happen, like the emotions are just lurking there, you know, behind my eyes, waiting to come out, then I'll avoid conversations and people on days like those. Something that's even more embarrassing than that is I have prosopagnosia, which means I have face blindness. I don't recognize people right away. I could have had, you know, 5 or 6 small conversations with you, and I see you a couple months later, and I'll know that I know you, but I can't place you. I don't know your name. Stuff like that happens. Just a couple weeks ago, I was at a store and I sat down next to somebody that I thought was a friend of mine. Come to find out, it was someone completely different who I didn't even like at all, and the questions I asked were probably totally inappropriate for that person, but it was very embarrassing to find out a couple days later that I was talking to someone that I you know, really didn't care to be talking to. And on more than one occasion, I have approached complete strangers and started talking to them, and noticed that they've gotten an odd look in their face, and then they'll say something like, "But I don't know you," or if I called them by a different name, "I'm not that person." And those kind of things tend to keep me a little quiet too, because those are highly embarrassing, and it takes me a while to get over things that are that embarrassing. So I usually let people approach me and start talking to me, and then if I can't place them at this point in my life, I can ask them, "Well, where do I know you from?" Or, "Are you the one with the 2 kids?" or something like that, to try and get that. Names escape me as frequently as faces, and I can't place the two. So it's challenging sometimes in that aspect with the prosopagnosia. The other thing, I tend not to ask a lot of questions of people, like what are you doing, or what did you do today, or what are you thinking? Mostly because I feel like I'm invading their privacy, probably because I don't like those questions asked of me. I think everybody else doesn't like those questions, so that's one reason I won't say those kind of things. I just won't. And so that's part of it too. Seems like there was something else that went along with that, but that escapes me at this time. Words hurt, and I don't want to hurt people by saying something offhanded or rude or spontaneous, which has happened before, and I've deeply regretted that. I like to have time to think ahead about what I'm going to say to people, so that I don't run into that problem. You know, so some days I just don't want to put that much work into conversing and remembering and trying to figure things out. And so I just won't talk. The amount of energy required to engage in a conversation of more than 5 or 10 minutes would just blow your mind, seriously. It's very exhausting for me. As an example of my introversion, last week I engaged in 2 conversations that lasted longer than 10 minutes with people other than my immediate family. I just don't go out that much. I don't usually pick up the phone to call people. I do like texting though. Texting is really fun, and it's easy for me, probably because my mind works that way, in that I see words almost like on a screen, and so texting is just an extension of my mind, and it's very natural, and it's usually very easy for me to text. So I do enjoy that, much more than conversation usually. So that's one thing. Another aspect is I think it goes to probably low self-esteem, is you know, does my opinion matter on a subject? In conversations, sometimes people are talking about things that I'm not fully aware of, and if I don't know everything there is to know about a subject, I don't like guessing and throwing my opinion out there when I don't have all the information. So a lot of times I just sit back and listen, and a couple of days later usually I'll have my opinion, and then maybe I'll share it, maybe I won't. I also abhor arguments, and I won't engage in verbal battles. I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion and how they feel about things, and if my opinion disagrees from theirs, I may or may not state it, probably not, because I don't like battling with people. There's no verbal sparring, there's no reason to argue. Just let everybody think what they want, and you know, kind of move on. So another big factor is that I'm very slow at processing what someone is saying. A lot of times people talk fast or faster than I can process it, and so I end up lagging behind in a conversation, and I have to slowly play and replay what is being said, or I try and pluck out relevant information, things that I think they will want me to remember or that I should remember, and it's quite a challenge. I tend to ask people to repeat things a lot, and if you tell me one story one day, well, I'll probably forget at least half of it if you talk to me about it the next day. So, you know, I'm uncomfortable showing that much vulnerability, you know, as to my processing skills. you know. So sometimes I go nonverbal just because it's easier. Another thing that'll happen when I'm speaking sometimes is I'll stammer, or I'll stutter, or I'll repeat the same phrase over and over again. Another thing that usually happens with emotional distress, or if there's something really on my mind, I'll say things that, you know, repeat one sentence over and over again, or I'll say things that don't matter to anybody else, but that's the only thing that my mind's thinking of. I'll just latch onto, you know, a small phrase, and that's all I can think about, and it usually doesn't mean anything to anybody other than myself. So it's just another reason to go nonverbal. Speaking is probably the most complex and stressful thing that I have to do, that I have to perform every day. And I guess I just wanted to share that with people. I know I look very normal. I'm very intelligent, I think, and I write very well. It's just the whole language processing, or the verbal processing center, is different, and my brain is wired differently. And in a perfect world, everybody would just gesture with beautiful flowing gestures, and there wouldn't be any harsh or grating or difficult to comprehend words and sentences. But I live in your world, and I choose to, you know, have relationships, and they're really hard if you're not speaking. So I value my friendships and my family and my relationships a lot. I guess I wanted people to know how difficult it is and how much effort I have to put into it. You know, it's just what I have to deal with and what I live with, and I just wanted people to know more about it. And if I don't talk to you for days, it's not because I, you know, don't like you or I'm mad at you. It's just some days I can't talk real well. Some days I can't talk at all. Some days it's just too much effort and too much work. But, you know, that's what it's like having autism sometimes. And this is me and my Aspergers, and I just wanted to share with you all, okay? So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the garage and the scenery. And I'll catch you later, okay? Have a good one. Bye now.